Hey y'all, I'm super excited to show y'all this Milwaukee cordless router. This thing is an animal. I'm not a fan of tool review videos. I didn't think I'd be doing one. I think 95% of them are biased one way or another. So what I'm going to do today is show you this thing go to work. 150 pieces of cedar here, and I routed all 8 edges. So a little update, a little aggravated. I miscalculated the amount of boards I need. I did the maths. Need five longer boards and 2 shorter boards. So take a quick second and get that fixed before we start routing with the Milwaukee. All right. Okay, all better. Let's get to work. Okay, so y'all saw this this router in action. So I used a 1/8 inch round over bit. It isn't particularly a good brand, but it was sharp enough. Let me tell you a little bit about this thing. So it runs on the M18 battery. It is really well made. So some of the other routers in its class, you know, catch up. They're hard to adjust, but this micro adjuster works perfectly. You clamp it, you set your motor speed, and then you get to work. It's a super simple system that works really well. I have a lot of other routers. I am not a brand specific person. I like Milwaukee quite a bit, but I do have Festool and DeWalt and Rigid, or not Rigid, but Ryobi, a whole bunch of other stuff. But this is worth mentioning. I ran all this stock on the 3rd setting. Heat is a big killer of router bits. So for this kind of work, I left it on a 3. I can't imagine you would ever need to turn it past 4 or 5, even if you did dados. This does not bog down at all on this wood especially. And I was running some of this really quick to see what it would do. So I really enjoyed using this. Hand fatigue was very low. I mean, considering how much I did, you know, my hand was a little tired. It's because these are a little bit more narrow, so got to have a little bit more hand control. And then obviously with that much stock doing it by hand, it's a little bit more physical for sure than if you were to set it up in your router table. I don't think I saved any time by not using a router table. This was really just to learn how to use, you know, learn how this router works. So I used 3 batteries. I used a cheap knockoff brand, which I use in my impact driver. Really, you get what you pay for on these. I only got 15 minutes of use out of this. So the battery I primarily used was a 3 amp hour Milwaukee branded battery, and this lasted for about 42 minutes. is a weird number. This is a 2-year-old battery. It was freshly charged, but you know, it's a little bit old. This is a good weight, good size for using on this. And then because I didn't charge my other 3 amp hour battery, I had to finish up with the 9 amp battery. So that was a bit of a bear. I really thought it was going to be terrible to use. You can see the size of that thing. So, but it was impressive. Even with this huge battery on there, I was still able to do the work just fine. So I wouldn't choose to use that by any means, no matter what I'm doing. One more thing I want to mention on this is the motor does not slow down when the batteries are starting to get low. So I have other brands of products that as the battery gets low, the motor gets slower. So whether it's brad nailers that I have or cordless drills and things like that, and other brands, they slow down with the depletion of the battery. This Milwaukee does not do that. So until you're completely out of power, this is running at full amps. So, which was really, really nice. I have a different cordless router, and that's one of the things I do not like about that thing, is A, it does not have the variable speed, which I think is almost a necessity. So that thing is screaming at the highest RPM it has, and as it uses the battery, the bit is slowing down. So it's not a good option. This, on the other hand, runs and runs and runs until you're completely out. Just give you a quick rundown of what's in the box. I bought the tool only kit. Comes with the dust port, your coilette, a larger router base, which is nice, and then the edge guide. My buddy JP at Foxhall Woodworks did a review on this router as well, and he goes into a little bit more detail with all the different accessories working on here. I'm not going to use the dust collection. Whole point of me buying this thing was to not have cords, right? Cordless. So I'm not going to use the dust collection on this ever. It's kind of an oxymoron for me to see a dust collection poured on here, but I guess everybody else does it, so they need it to as well. It has a great light on the bottom here. Comes with the standard plexiglass, just to make it look cool. And the only thing I needed to do was I needed to adjust this little Allen bolt to make the clamp just a little bit tighter. So I didn't want it to be hard to open or close. So it's nice like that. So what I was doing is when I was picking this up a lot of times, I was grabbing the micro adjust dial right there. So what I was noticing when I first started using the router, that I would inadvertently grab that, it would move the threads, and because this wasn't tight enough, I was changing the height adjustment on the bit, so you know, it was inconsistent result. So I just tightened that a little bit, and now if I grab that thing, it doesn't change the bit height. So that was really the only thing I needed to do out of the factory. And then the other thing I needed to do out of the factory, it took me a long time to figure this out. This is the same basic plexiglass that all the manufacturers use, you know, one way or another. Same type of material. So I knew my issue wasn't the tool. It was something else. It took me a long time to figure it out. So what it was doing is it was sticking on me when I would go down. So, you know, it was kind of jerking sometimes. I'd have to push kind of hard, and then I'd come to the end, and because it was trying to stick to the wood almost, you know, I kind of had a hard time when I was going around the edge or the ends and down. So this is why it's hazy. I first put glide coat on here, and that helped for about 5 minutes. And then I tried using paste wax. Couldn't, you know, same thing. I might have gotten 10 or 15 minutes of smooth action, but that was about it. So I had to keep reapplying. So I really couldn't figure it out. So I was about to the point to where I was just gonna take 15 minutes to make a wood one. This plexiglass doesn't do anything, doesn't let any more light through, anything like that. So I was gonna put a wood base on here and then I could load it up with paste wax. But I finally figured out what it was. There was a little burr on the inside here. So as I was sliding, it was catching. I couldn't feel it, I couldn't see it. But when I finally I went lightly with 120 grit paper and I just kind of chamfered the edge just to make sure there wasn't anything on the edge there. And I did the same thing on the inside, and sure enough, I could feel it with the sandpaper. There was a little burr. And so that's what was causing it. I thought maybe it was, you know, the cedar, the oil on there, but the first time I used the router was on plywood and I was using the flush trim bit. And I noticed it doing there too. So I think it came out of the factory with just a little burr. And you know, after I finished all this wood, I finally figured it out. So easy fix. Now I put some glide coat on there and it's perfect. So I just want to really quickly go down with the competitor pricing for the same kits. This is tool only with the accessories there, no batteries, anything like that. So as it stands right now, the Milwaukee, this is all Home Depot pricing, so prices will vary depending on where you're going, but this is a good barometer. This kit, the 2723-20, is $179, okay? And then its competitors, direct competitors, are the Rigid, same kit, is $129. The DeWalt is $199, and the Makita is $129. These prices are all brushless, you know, all the basic same kits across all the brands. So DeWalt's most expensive, then down to the Milwaukee, and the Makita and Rigid. So it kind of gives you an idea where it is. Okay, so if you're curious of what I was using to run the router on, it was just the Rockler glue up mats. I'll put a picture of what these are all going to. These are going to Adirondack chairs that I'm making. I have a lot of orders for these, so I'm doing a lot of production work. Check out my video that I'm going to be posting in a couple of days or week on some tips and tricks for doing production work in a small shop. And I'll also link a set of plans that I used as my basis to build those chairs. Bottom line is, whether you're a Milwaukee fan or any other fan, if you're looking to buy and invest in a cordless router, you can't pass this up and take a good look at it. I know there's a lot of brand loyal people out there, and they've invested in a lot of batteries and things like that. I get that. I try and limit the amount of cordless battery manufacturers that I use in here as well. But even if I did not have Milwaukee batteries and other products, I would absolutely buy a battery and buy a charger and get this unit. If it was stolen tomorrow, I'd buy another one. If it was stolen the next day after that, after I replace it, I'd buy another one. This is such a fantastic tool. I hope this review helps. I wanted to do this a little differently. I wanted you to see the product work, and then you can make your decisions based off of that. I'm available if you have any questions, message me, leave a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But you know, all in all, this tool is completely blown me away. So I really appreciate you watching this video. Like, subscribe, pass this video along to anybody that's possibly looking to add to their collection of a cordless router. And hope you all have a good day. Thank you very much.